A historic shift has just unfolded in Washington as Congress finally approved a sweeping immigration reform bill that could transform the future of millions of people living in, working in, or hoping to come to the United States. After years of stalled negotiations and repeated failures, lawmakers have reached a long-awaited breakthrough with the passage of the U.S. Immigration Reform and Modernization Act of 2025, a comprehensive overhaul being described as the most significant change to America's immigration laws in decades. The legislation touches nearly every major area of the immigration system, introducing new pathways, reducing long-standing delays, updating border procedures, and strengthening protections for families and workers. For immigrants already living in the United States, for international students, for skilled professionals, and for those waiting abroad for visa approvals, this law could reshape what the next decade looks like. One of the most groundbreaking elements of this reform is the creation of a 10-year legalization pathway for certain undocumented immigrants who have lived in the country long-term, contributed to the economy, and maintained clean records. Those who meet the eligibility requirements, including proof of residence, background checks, and verified employment history, will be able to apply for conditional legal status that may eventually lead to permanent residency and citizenship. This marks a major step in addressing an issue that has fueled national debate for decades. Alongside this, the bill dramatically expands employment-based green cards and removes the long-criticized per-country caps that kept applicants from countries like India and China stuck in backlogs stretching over many years. For skilled workers, graduates of U.S. universities, and professionals in healthcare, research, and technology, this change could finally offer a realistic timeline for obtaining permanent residency. The new system combines merit-based considerations with credit for long-term U.S. work history, creating a more predictable and transparent process. Family-based immigration also receives long-overdue updates that could ease the pressure on families separated by bureaucratic delays. The legislation introduces digital tracking systems, clear processing targets, and updated timelines with the goal of cutting waiting periods significantly by 2027. It also restores thousands of unused visa numbers that were lost in previous years because of administrative slowdowns, offering hope to families who have been waiting far longer than expected to reunite with loved ones. In addition to visas and paperwork improvements, the bill invests heavily in border and security modernization efforts. These include updated surveillance technology, new asylum processing locations, and systems designed to reduce the need for long-term detention. The updated asylum framework aims to deliver legally reviewed decisions within 90 days, replacing a process that often leaves applicants waiting months or even years. Another forward-looking component of the reform is the introduction of a startup visa aimed at international entrepreneurs and innovators. This new option allows foreign founders to build companies in the United States if they demonstrate the ability to create jobs and contribute to the economy. The measure is being praised as a major move to attract global talent and strengthen the country's position in technology, research, and business development. Students also see significant improvements in the bill, especially those pursuing degrees in STEM fields. The transition from student visas to work visas and then to green cards is streamlined, reducing uncertainty for those who hope to remain in the United States after graduation. Workers on H-1B and L-1 visas also benefit from stronger protections, clearer wage standards, and additional safeguards that reduce the risk of workplace exploitation. The law further updates policies affecting green card holders. Those who have lived in the country for more than 10 years will receive automatic short-term re-entry eligibility, relieving the stress many residents face when traveling abroad for family emergencies or short visits. Renewals and updates for permanent residents are expected to move faster, with improved transparency through digital case systems. Humanitarian protections see meaningful advancements as well. Individuals under temporary protected status, DSCA recipients, and refugees gain updated pathways and renewed security, including a direct road to permanent residency for dreamers who have lived in the country since childhood. This change provides long-sought stability to people who have spent years in legal uncertainty. Achieving this level of reform required an unusual political moment in Washington. After years of division, a bipartisan coalition formed under pressure from businesses, community leaders, immigrant families, and advocacy groups across the country. The final bill passed with a narrow but decisive margin in the Senate and is expected to be signed into law shortly. For people currently living in the United States, the effects will unfold gradually as the Department of Homeland Security and USCIS begin releasing official guidelines and opening new application processes. Immigration attorneys are urging individuals not to rush, but to begin organizing documents such as tax history, employment records, identity documents, and proof of residence so they are prepared when applications officially begin. The economic ripple effects of this reform are also expected to be significant. By reducing visa backlogs and expanding legal work opportunities, analysts predict the changes could contribute billions in additional tax revenue and help industries that rely heavily on immigrant labor. Employers across sectors have long pointed to outdated visa limits as barriers to growth, innovation, and competitiveness. Critics of the bill raise concerns about both enforcement capacity and the long-term impact of expanded eligibility, arguing that the reforms may bring future challenges. However, many experts note that the bill balances modernization with oversight and introduces accountability measures that strengthen rather than weaken the system. Implementation will require coordination, funding, and strong administrative guidance. And while the reform does not instantly solve every immigration challenge, it marks a turning point for millions who have waited years for stability and fairness. As the president prepares to sign the bill, federal agencies will publish official instructions detailing eligibility requirements, application timelines, and documentation standards. For immigrants waiting for change, for families separated by slow processing times, and for workers seeking long-term security, this moment represents a significant step forward. The coming months will bring new updates, new opportunities, and new guidance as the country begins to implement this historic legislation.